What is going on, guys? TJ and Matt here with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports, and welcome to this official Prize Picks video, Matt. We have championship weekend. We have the AFC and the NFC championship games between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals, and then in the that's the AFC. And in the NFC, we have the 49ers and the Rams. Matt,
this is our first video with the setup, by the way. I'm so mind blown.
Yeah, it
looks
a new
cool.
Setup. Looks very swell. If you guys are new to the channel, please go ahead and make subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and if you could, please give this video a like as well. That would be fantastic. Matt, for those of you who don't know, just went on a vacation to Disney. Matt, since coming back from Disney, has been on an absolute tear giving out prize picks over on NBA. So Matt and I, this beautiful Saturday morning, where there's like 14 inches of snow out right now in the Boston area, we decided, let's dive into the NFL prize picks, Matt, and let's keep this hot streak going.
Yes.
Get me involved. Hopefully I don't cool you off, and I'm not trying to step on your toes here. I don't want to ruin your mojo, but like I said, you've been on an absolute tear.
That is for NBA, though, so I will say that.
NBA. We have two fantastic games this weekend, obviously, with the AFC and NFC championship game. The divisional round last week was probably the four best games in one weekend I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was the best game I think I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, that Bills and Chiefs game alone, but just all four games were just unbelievable to watch. We do have some prize picks for you guys here today. I think Matt and I are both going to give you our four favorites for the weekend. But
before we start, guys, if I don't know why you're watching this video, if you haven't signed up for prize picks, but if you haven't, go ahead and enter code using DGF for 100% match up to $100. Prize Picks, one of the easiest ways to play daily fantasy sports. Our members love it. We're thinking about changing our name to DG Prize Picks instead of DG Fantasy at this point, just based on how much, guys. I mean, everybody's been playing, everybody's been enjoying it. And again, like I said, if you hate the app, which I highly doubt you will hate it, you can delete it. You can take the $100 in promo money, play it. If you lose it all, you lose it all, and just never play again. But if you love it, if you love what we're doing, if you love the content that we're providing, feel free to visit our daily videos. Like TJ said earlier, I do provide daily NBA videos as well. So enter code using DGF. Helps us out, helps you guys out. Everybody's happy. It's a win-win for everybody. But let's go ahead and dive into these picks. TJ, I want to hear your picks first. I want to hear your favorite. I guess your fourth favorite pick first.
My fourth favorite. So you want me to go?
Yeah, I want you to prioritize it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't ready for you to ask me that, but let's go ahead and dive into my four. I'm just going to do it that way so you can get back. So my four favorite plays from this weekend. Well, let's go one by one and switch off.
Yep.
First,
I like that.
From the Chiefs and the Bengals game, I'm rocking with Joe Burrow over 280.5
I was ready for that.
yards, Matt, going up against the Kansas City Chiefs in a game where the Bengals are currently 7-point road dogs. If game script holds true, we expect Joe Burrow to potentially be playing from behind and trying to play catch up here against that loaded Kansas City offense. I don't think the Bengals have a chance at slowing that offense down. So with that being said, I think Joe Burrow is going to have to try and keep pace here with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. We saw this in week 2. They put up 34 points. Joe Burrow threw for 450 yards. With that being said, the defense here for Kansas City is completely different, especially with Melvin Ingram coming over for the linebacker position there for the Chiefs. So the defense has done a complete 180 since the beginning of the year here for the Chiefs. But I still do like Joe Burrow over 280.5 passing yards. Again, I'm just thinking that I do like the Chiefs in this game to go on in advance. I do think the Bengals cover the spread. But with that being said, Joe Burrow over 280.5 passer yards. I'm locked in on that. Do you agree with me?
I completely agree with you. And while we're here, I'm just going to stay here because we both agree this is going to be a duel, right? It's going to be a close, competitive, high-scoring matchup. And if that does hold true,
55 over under right now.
It's crazy. I think it's the highest we've seen in the playoffs, right? That was higher than the Bills Chiefs.
I think the Bills Chiefs was 54.5. So yeah, 55 right now for the Bengals and Chiefs.
I'm going to stay here. I'm going to go over Patrick Mahomes 283.5 passing yards. I feel like that's also just as safe. For all the reasons you just said, I'm pretty much just saying the exact same thing. He said the over of that passing 283.5 projected passing yards the past 2 games in the playoffs. So for what it's worth, 100% hit rate so far in the playoffs. I think this is a pretty confident over. Like you said, the game total is projected higher than both of the previous matchups that he's had in the playoffs so far, even against the Steelers, I must mention. Bovada also has him projected at 293.5 passing yards. So Prize Picks, you take the discount here. If you're betting on Bovada, head over to Prize Picks anyway. Take the 7-yard discount. It might change your entire evening. And I think it's just a great buy low play, TJ.
I like it. And you know what, Matt? Let's go ahead and keep staying here because
Okay.
there's a tight end I do want to talk about. CJ Uzma, currently at a 32.5 over under. I'm taking the over. He's been a very good check down
Receiving yards,
for
right?
Joe Burrow. Yes, excuse
Okay.
me, receiving yards. Yes, those are not passing or rushing yards there for CJ Uzma. So far in 2 playoff games, Matt, he has 14 targets. He has 13 receptions, 135 yards, 1 touchdown. He has hit the over in both of those games against the Raiders and the Titans. I do like him to hit the over again. Like I did just mention, he's a very good chuck down, and he's been very consistent over the middle
Yeah,
here
it's been.
for Joe Burrow. I expect that to continue in a game where, again, if game script holds true, they should be trailing. So CJ Uzma, currently 32.5 receiving yards. Bovada currently has him at 36.5, so there's a little 4-yard cushion there. So I would much rather get this over under on Prizepicks than I would Bovada. So give me CJ Uzma staying in this game over 32.5 receiving yards.
This back and forth is working really well because I'm going to harp right off of what you just said. Uzma has been taking targets away from Tyler Boyd in these playoffs. A lot. Tyler Boyd is 4th in terms of the target percentage, which is why I like the under. We're going to be taking the fantasy score because usually when you look at the fantasy scores, it's usually higher in terms of the overall inflation of like the amount of yards and catches you get with that. So 10.5 is a little high for me. I'm going to be taking the under here on Tyler Boyd, 10.5 fantasy points. Boyd just hasn't been getting that volume in the playoffs. I think he got a combined three targets last game. Don't fact check me on that. It wasn't good. But also Boyd has only hit that over once without a touchdown dating back to week 13. So the one thing I said to you before we did this video is that he basically has to catch a touchdown to hit that over. I think, in terms of confidence. We do know this is going to be a shootout, but again, Tyler Boyd has been 4th, and we're not even talking about Joe Mixon at this point. Like he could take targets away from Tyler Boyd, and he has been. In the playoffs, Boyd is 4th in terms of the pecking order when it comes to target share and also snap count percentage. So Uzma has been out snapping Tyler Boyd as well, and also Burrow seems to be targeting his other 2 favorite receivers there, and Higgins and Jamar Chase. Just saying, Jamar Chase has been going ballistic. So I'm going to be taking the under here on Tyler Boyd. Fantasy points, 10.5.
Fantasy points. Those aren't rushing yards, correct?
Correct. Not rushing yards.
Hey, Matt, what if I told you my next play is going to be from this game again?
Uh-oh.
Would you be surprised?
Is it going to be an over?
It is going to be an over.
I feel more confident with the overs anyway.
Okay. After coming off of an under right there, I am going to switch base here. Go with an over. I'm looking at Travis Kelce over 6 fantasy score right now.
Okay.
In Travis Kelce's 2 playoff games so far, he has 5 receptions, 108 yards, and 1 touchdown against the Steelers in the wild card weekend, and then against the Bills in the divisional, Matt. He had, where are you, Travis? 8 for 96 and a touchdown. And yes, I know he caught the late touchdown in overtime, but the targets have been there. He's had 17 so far in these 2 playoff games. I think he's been the most consistent receiver so far for the Chiefs, obviously over Tyreek Hill. Always been Patrick Mahomes' go-to guy, especially over the middle, late in games, etc.
Game winner.
Week. So I love Travis Kelce over 16, Matt.
I love that too.
In order for him to get that, he needs to go out and get you 6+. I would say 660 and a touchdown. I feel like that's a really safe line for him, and I think he can eclipse that pretty easily. So I do like Travis Kelce over 16 against the Bengals.
No, I completely agree with you. We actually have him projected for 20 fantasy points on our website, by the way, if you guys want to sign up for our projections. And also our Prizepicks premium picks. We'll be posting more picks leading up to the games tomorrow. Head over to dgfantasy.com. We added a new subscription. $5 a week. $5 a week. That's all you need. You would have covered the entire buy-in for that yesterday if you would have taken all the NBA prize picks. Only $5 a week gives you access to all of our premium prize picks. That goes for NBA and NFL. And then also a $10 subscription if you want to do our monthly package. So I feel like that's very affordable for you guys. We might have to hike up those prices though, TJ, because that's
I agree.
very, very cheap. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking there.
I already did it on the back end. I just didn't tell you yet.
Okay, good.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Okay, I'm going to stay in this game as well. Now, this is one that you're not so confident about, but I still think we agree with the three backs being back here for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to be taking the under here on McKinnon, 12 fantasy points. CEH, I need to find him real quick because I've been highlighting all these players.
CEH. Matt, look up CEH.
Sorry, McKinnon. Did I say CEH?
No. Yeah, you did say CH. Find McKinnon, though. Jarek
McKinnon under 12 fantasy points. We are taking the under on that because CEH has been more efficient than McKinnon once he's been on the field. He's been averaging more yards per carry than McKinnon. Darrell Williams is also back this week. I know it probably shouldn't impact him too much, but again, just adding another person in the backfield, definitely going to be hard for McKinnon to hit that over. Also, McKinnon only scored 12.8 fantasy points last game. That was without Darrell Williams, and he's had two crazy outlier performances. I feel like whenever he's on the field, he always breaks a tackle, always gets down the field, and it's really been inflating his overs there. So McKinnon, despite having limited carries, has had two great games, and again with CEH having larger role here in this game, I do believe the under is going to hit here at 12 fantasy points for McKinnon.
Okay.
That's it.
I agree with you, man. I do like that. That's a backfield I definitely want to stay away from if you're playing cash games tomorrow. If you're playing DFS, but we don't care about that right now. We're strictly talking prize picks. Matt, if you're all done with this Chiefs and Bengals game, I'm going to run over to this Rams and 49ers game because there is a guy that has had a very strange season. He ends up on the Los Angeles Rams, and so far in the playoffs has been a part to their 2 wins. I'm talking about Odell Beckham Jr. right now, Matt. The over-under on prize picks for him for receiving yards is 47.5, and I love this over. Odell's season has been completely revamped since getting cut by the Cleveland Browns earlier in the year. In his 2 playoff games, in a game where Matthew Stafford only threw for 17 times against the Cardinals because they blew them out, Odell had 4 targets. He had 4 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. And then last week against the Bucs, Odell 6 for 69 off of 8 targets. He looked fantastic. I think he hits the over on these receiving yards, Matt. I just think he's been such a consistent receiver, and they needed him so. Just the timing in which they got him and they lost Robert Woods, the way they've been able to acclimate him into the offense, he's kind of become. I wouldn't call him 1A, 1B with Cooper Kupp, but he is
not even close. Don't say that.
No, okay, but he's obviously that number 2 target here for Matthew Stafford, and rightfully so. You can tell they have a pretty good rapport. He definitely trusts him, especially late in games. So, especially not late in games because it was Cooper Kupp on that final drive, and it should have only been Cooper Kupp. But yes, I do love Odell. The over 47.5 on Prize Picks, Matt. That looks way too low for me. I think he goes north of 60 yards here against the 49ers on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't projected for 14 fantasy points. So when you convert that to receiving yards, it's like, I don't know, 70 to 80. Regardless, fantastic play there. I do agree with the over. And again, you're just playing right into my plays here. Because of all the reasons you just said, I like the under on Van Jefferson. We're going to be heading over to the fantasy points because that fantasy score of 7 is too high. If you look at the last couple games, he just hasn't been able to get there. Yeah. He's the last 3 games actually 6.4, 5.1.
Haven't been there, especially without the blooming of Odell, and then Stafford's been looking at Higbee a lot too. So
I was about to say, so Higbee's been out snapping all the receivers. He's been getting plenty of targets. And he's technically questionable. So if that injury does come back to hinder him, well, guess what? He shouldn't be on the field at all. So I really do like the under here on Van Jefferson. Is a pretty consistent under, and also 49ers pretty good defense, I hear. So all those playing into consideration. I think those are 8 plays that we gave out. Are we missing anybody? Is that it?
8 plays.
All right, we just gave 8. I usually give away 5 with an honorable mention. So we gave you guys a lot of plays there. If you guys want to sign up for our premium prize picks, you guys know where to find us, and that will wrap up our content, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this content. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NFL content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day. Let's cash.
We love you guys.